Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and we are back with a new part of this tutorial series, and today we will see what is persistence in C#. So these are the contents we will be discussing, that is persistence in C#, serialization and deserialization in C#. So for the persistence we use serialization in C#. Okay, so that we will learn today in this tutorial. And third we will see that is XML serialization versus SOAP serialization versus binary serialization. Now when to use which serialization according to the requirements, that we will see in this tutorial. Okay, so first of all, what is persistence? Now until now we have learned different mechanisms that are used in C#. That is a different mechanism, different phenomena such as classes, interface, inheritance we have learned. That is also we have learned method overriding, method overloading. So all these things we have learned until now. And why? To build an application. So though we have learned only console applications until now, that is a very simple console application, but that is also a kind of application, and we have learned every mechanism, every phenomena to build this application and how to use those phenomena with these applications. But that we have used to show only output to the user, like we have only built the kind of a user interface there only. But now we will learn how we can store this data in somewhere and we can retrieve that data whenever we require that. Okay, so for that, and that is nothing but a mechanism, that is persistence. We can save the state of the object across boundaries, across app domain. Okay, so how we can do that? First of all, what is the persistence? Storing the state or data of an object into a file, memory, database, etc. is called as persistence in C#. Okay, and serialization is used to persist the state of an object in C#. Okay, for this persistence we use serialization phenomena in C#. Okay, and what is that serialization? Let's see that. Serialization and deserialization. Okay, so if we serialize some object into a file or into a memory, then if we want that, then we have to deserialize that back to the object. So that is nothing but a deserialization. So if we go by definition, serialization is the process of converting an object into a stream of bytes to transmit it to a memory, a database, or a file. Okay, and deserialization is nothing but a reverse process of that. That is, it is a process of reconstructing an object back from the stream of bytes. Okay, so now third point, that is serialization formatters handle serialization and deserialization of object in C#. Okay, so now to handle this serialization and deserialization, there are serialization formatters that we use in C#. And how we can do that? Let's just see that everything into an action. Okay, and before that we will see how to store data into file or a memory, but we will not see how to store data into a database in this tutorial. Okay, so that we will learn in a later videos, or maybe in a later tutorial series. That we learn ADO.NET and maybe entity framework that manages our database connections as well as database operations, and how we can do that explicitly also using ADO.NET. So we will see that database operations and how to store this information into database in our later tutorial series. So don't worry about that, but today we will learn how to store or how to persist a state of an object into a file or into a memory using serialization. Okay, so let's just see everything into action. So for that, let's just switch to Visual Studio. So for that, to understand, we will just create one class here. Okay, and I will create that separately here. I will add one class here. And I will name it as a student. Okay, I will make that as public. I will take two properties here. Okay, I will name that as first name, and here a last name. Okay, and we will have one constructor here, and why I am taking that constructor I will explain you in a bit, so don't worry about that. String first name, string last name. Okay, and whatever these parameters coming in this constructor, we will initialize that to our properties. Okay, and that should be big F, okay, is equals to first name, whatever is coming in that constructor, okay. So last name, that should be big L, is equals to last name here, okay. Alright, now we will go to the main method that is in this program class, and here let's just print onto the console that is a first name and a last name. But from where that first name and last name will be coming, that is from that class student, and we have to create an object of that. Student is a new is equal student is equal to new student, and it is throwing an error. And why? Because we have taken that parameterized constructor there, and it requires those string to be passed there, that is first name and last name. So now I want to print these values here, and I can do that directly by doing something like this, toString. But for that we have to override this toString method here, okay. So how we can do that? Let's just see. Public string toString, and it is throwing an error. And why? We will see that because such method is already present inside this C#, inside that object class, because and we know that object class provides every classes, every types this method, because every types in this C# are directly or indirectly inheriting from that object class, okay. So but we can override that method, something like this, okay, and we can return something like this, first name plus last name, something like this. And now if we run this program, we will get that name concatenated by first name and last name. Okay, so again a simple program. Now we are nothing but showing this output onto the console, and that's what we have done until now, okay. But how can we store this information somewhere else, or some in some file maybe, and we can retrieve that as and when we require that? So for that we use serialization, and we will use XML serialization first here, and we will see that how we can use that, and later we will see every other serializations that I have mentioned. So first we will see how we can use XML serialization to store this data, okay, or what we can say, to persist the state of an object, okay. Before that, let me take one console.readline here, so that will look better, okay. So if I run this, okay, now there is only name. Now for XML serialization to work, it is present inside this system dot XML dot serialization namespace, okay. So inside that XML serialization namespace there is XML serializer, and we can create instance of that, something like this. And what we have to pass in the constructor of that XML serializer, if I hover my mouse over here, I can see that we have to pass a type, okay. So I can pass my type, that is something like this, type of student here, because I want to persist the data of the student, that is the student object. So that is why I have to pass that type here. And that is not very difficult task, because if we don't understand what to pass in which method, there is this IntelliSense are provided by compiler, okay. So it is clearly showing that we have to pass the type here. Now to write into some file, I can use a StreamWriter class here, and where the StreamWriter class is present, if we go to the show potential fixes, so using system.io, in that system.io namespace there is this StreamWriter class present, and we can use that, and I can create an instance of this class as well. Okay, something like this, new StreamWriter, and what I have to pass to the constructor of this method, that is this StreamWriter. So we have to pass a stream, or maybe we can pass a path there, and I will, if I only give the name instead of full path here. Okay, so what it will do, it will store this file, or what it will do, it will create the student.txt file right there in the location of this project. Okay, so we will see that. Now inside this XML there is a method, that is this serialize, and in that serialize we have to pass that StreamWriter, that is object of the StreamWriter, and the type or the object of a type we want to store into the file. Okay, so something like this. And also I have to close this connection. Okay, because we have learned that if we don't close these connections, it is very much dangerous for the hackers to hack our application, as well as there can be a memory wastage. So now if I run this program, okay, so we get that output onto this console, and there should be a file created at this location of this project, that is the student.txt. in that there should be this information is stored. Okay, so now how we can see that, because we have used that console.readline, so that is why we have to press enter or maybe print any key there. Okay, so we got with exception. So now what is this exception? Yes, student cannot be serialized because it does not have a parameterless constructor. So for that we have to use a parameterless constructor for this XML serialization. Okay, so we will use that here. Okay, okay, all right. So now if I run this and if I press enter, okay, so now it is the output, and this information, that is this first name and last name, should be saved in the student.xml file, and which is present right at the location of this project. And how we can go there? If I go to the open folder in File Explorer and bin debug, so here it is, there is the student XML file, and if I open this, okay, so this is in a XML version, that is XML file. So first name, that is Akshay, and last name, that is Borje. So that is how we have persist the state of that object into this XML file. And how we can retrieve that? Let's just first create, so for that let's just first make that student object as null here. Okay, so student is equals to null here, and now if I want to print that console dot write line student dot to string, it should give us object not reference, object reference not set to an instance of an object, that exception it should give us. Okay, so null reference exception, so that means we have make that student object null. So now how we can get that information from that XML file in which we have stored that object, that information? So for that we can use deserialization, and before that we have to read from that path, that is this, and for that we can use a stream reader class, just like a StreamWriter which writes that information into the student XML. So we can use that stream reader class to read that information back, something like this, sr is equals to new stream reader, and we have to pass that file name only, something like this. Okay, and in that XML there is this deserialize method as well that is present. So in that deserialize method we have to pass this stream only like this, and I want that information to save in the student object, so I can do that something like this, student is equal to XML. And why it is giving that error? Because we have to pass that type here, because this is of type student, so that is why I have to convert that stream back into that object. Okay, so like this deserializer will construct that object back from that information, yes, but here that information of this type should be known to this object, so that is why we have to cast that. So now we will close this connection again here, and now we will see if we get that object. Okay, so we have already made that object null here, but after that we are getting that information from this file by deserializing that back to our object, and we are showing that onto this console. So let's see if we get that output. So this is the first output, which is from this console line. Okay, that is this. After that we have serialized that into one file, and after that we have made that object null, and again we have deserialized that object back, and now if I press enter, so we will get that name back again, that is Akshay Borje. So we are nothing but serializing and deserializing this object into the file and back from the file. Okay, so that is how we use this XML serialization. But there is one flaw using this XML serialization. So if you have seen, so if you guys recollect, when we have learned attribute in C#, and at that time I have shown you one attribute, that is serializable attribute. That is, I can use that serializable attribute over this class, something like this. But for this XML serialization, we haven't used this, and instead of that we are able to make that object serialized. So that is because this XML serialization doesn't require this serializable attribute, because this XML serialization works, or what we can say, this XML serialization only serialize the public member, the public types, the object of public types only into the stream. So if I make this class, or if I remove this public from here, and now if I try to run this, and if you can see, it is inaccessible due to its protection level, only public type can be processed. So that is the flaw in this XML serialization. When you have a private fields, and that or maybe you have a private class that you want to persist into a file or into our memory, so XML serialization doesn't work there. So that is why we can use a SOAP serialization instead of that, and that will work with this private class as well. So let's just see how we can use that SOAP serialization. So instead of this XML serializer, what we can do, we can use a SOAP serialization. SOAP serializer, and that is, it is not a SOAP serializer, it is a SOAP formatter actually, and that is present inside using system dot runtime dot serialization dot formatters dot SOAP, and that should be big S. And let's just see why it is giving that error, because we have to add that reference here. And how we can do that? If I go to references, so here I want to add, here I can add that reference for that SOAP formatter, and if I go to these assemblies, here we should find that system dot runtime dot serialization dot formatter, that is SOAP formatter. So from that I can add that reference here, and as soon as I do that, we will be able to use that namespace. Okay, so now instead of that XML serialization, we are using this SOAP formatter, and instead of this XML serializer we will use this SOAP formatter, not search option, it should be SOAP formatter. Okay, and we don't have to pass anything here, it doesn't require anything, and this should be SOAP. Okay, and instead of this stream writer, what we have to use only a stream, and in that stream we have to use something like this file dot open the location which we want, that is I will pass this name only here, and we know if we don't pass location, that is full location also, it will store into the location of this project only. Okay, and it requires another parameter, okay, that is a file mode, that is I want that file mode to be create, that is if this file is not present, I want this file mode to create that for me. Okay, so it will create that for us, and I will not make this as .xml now, I will make that as .txt. Okay, so now, and I will remove this file from here so that it will not so we will not get confused that it is a old file only. Okay, now instead of this XML I will use this SOAP here, and in that I have to pass this stream something like this, and we will close that stream something like this, and similarly here it should be SOAP, and already we have that stream here, so no need to create that again, and instead of this here I will use that again file dot open here, and I will make that file mode as open only, because this time we are reading that information. Okay, something like this, and the stream I want to pass here, and I want to close that here, and now let's just see, and we have already make that student as non-public. Okay, so that is why, so it is private by default. Okay, so let's just try to use that now, and if I run this we will get first error there. Okay, and what error, what exception, we will see that. So it is giving our exceptions, so it is giving that exception, that is assembly persistent in sharp version 1.0.0 culture neutral public key whatever is not marked as serializable. Okay, so again for this to work we have to use that serializable attribute, and that is how we can able to serialize this private data from this application, that is more secure data using this serializable attribute. So now if I run this by using that, yes, I have to change that here as well, that is it should not be student XML, that is it should be txt, because we are storing that to txt and we are getting that from, we are trying to read that from XML, and which is not present. Okay, so now if I run this, okay, so we got that output by using SOAP serialization, and we can able to serialize that private data, that is private type as well, that is an object of private type as well. That is why we can use SOAP serialization over XML serialization when we want to serialize more secure data, or what we can say more private data into a stream. And now there is one problem with this SOAP serialization as well, and I will show you that. What if I want to pass, what if I want to store more information, what if I want to store more than one student? So what I can do, I will create 2 or 3 students here, that is more student, and something like this I will pass 1 here and 2 here. Okay, so maybe John, Wayne, and here it may be Edward, Wayne only. Okay, so now I want to add this many student into this file, but for that to happen, instead of passing that one by one here in for each loop, what I will do, I will create one list here, and we have learned that how to use this list, that is a generic list. in the previous tutorial itself. If you guys not aware about the generics as well, about the generic collections and collections, so please go and refer those videos so you will understand that better. So I am using this generic list here, and by using that I can pass the student here, something like this. So not a student, that should be a list of students. Okay, and I can pass that directly here, student. Instead of using that add method, we know this list has an add method, but instead of doing that I can pass that here as well. We can initialize this in this way as well. Okay, so something like this. And now I want to pass this list instead of that one student here. Okay, all right. And instead of that student, making the student null, I will make that list null, so we will understand if we are getting that information from this file only. Okay, and I want that list to be here instead of that student, so we will get that list back. And we know as soon as I do that, it should be a list of student, because we are getting that list from that file and not the single student. Okay, and we know if it is a list, we have to loop through that again here, where item in list, something like this, and instead of student I will use that item. Okay, so this item is nothing but a single student in this list of student. Okay, and now I will get rid of this for now. Instead of showing that here, we will get that directly from that list only. Okay, so I will run this, but we will not get that output. Okay, so why? And that is why I have shown you this. That is a disadvantage of SOAP serialization. So SOAP serializer does not support serializing generic types, so that is nothing but a disadvantage. So but I want to use this generic list with serialization. So for that, what I can do, I can use binary serialization. So let's just see how we can overcome that disadvantage using binary serialization now. So for that I have to add this namespace here using system.runtime.serialization.formatters, and in that there should be a binary, that is binary serialization. And instead of this SOAP formatter, I will use binary formatter here, that is binary. And instead of this SOAP formatter, it should be a binary formatter. And now instead of SOAP here, I will pass that binary, and here as well a binary to deserialize that. Okay, and everything is good. And now if I run this, we got that list. It is from that file only. Okay, so to prove you that, what I will do, I will comment this for now, and let's just see, or maybe I will get that after this only. I will use that after this only, and I will comment this part. Okay, so we know we have passed that information in this file, and we have made that list as a null. Okay, so now if I run this, we should get object null reference exception. Okay, so we are getting that because after storing that information in this file, we are making that list as a null. So that is why after deserializing that object back and getting that information from the student, we are storing and getting that information onto this console like this. So that is nothing but from that file. So this is how we use serialization in this C# and different serialization according to our requirements. Okay, so that's what we have just seen. XML serialization allows us to serialize object into XML data format, and we have seen that it store information into XML data format, and it can serialize only public type objects into XML data. We have seen that it only works with public type and not the private type, and also it supports the serialization of generic type object. Okay, so maybe I have not shown you that, but XML serialization also supports this serialization of generic type object. Okay, this SOAP serialization doesn't support that, and that is the difference between these. That is the difference between both this as well as this binary serialization, XML serialization and SOAP serialization. There are differentiation between these. Okay, so if it supports a serialization for these generic type objects, so this SOAP serialization doesn't provide that. Okay, so it does not support serialization of generic type objects. And SOAP, that is Simple Object Access Protocol, that is a long form. This serialization allows us to serialize objects into XML format. So this also nothing but serialize that information into XML format only. Okay, and it can serialize private as well as public type objects. Okay, we have seen that. So it was not supporting those private types to be serialized, so we have used SOAP serialization, and that is also one difference between this. So this SOAP serialization can serialize private as well as public type objects. So now this binary serialization allows us to serialize an object into binary data format, and let's just see that. So I have just used this binary formatter. It should have created this text file, but it should be in a binary format which is unreadable. Okay, so this is nothing but a binary format, and before that we have used SOAP serialization. Okay, so I will just Control Z this, and I will show you what the SOAP formatter have created, that is in which format it have created that information. Okay, so I will show you that. I will just Control Z this. Because it is not worked, because it doesn't support that generic list, so generic type, that is why I will do that. Open, that is I have to use that XML here as well. Okay, so yes, instead of that XML it should be SOAP here, and it should be stream here. Okay, all right, and now it should be a stream here, and instead of create it should be open. Okay, that is stream, and here should be stream. Okay, and now if I and this should be BigO, that is this, and now if I run this, okay, so we got that information, and it should be saved here, that is this XML file. So this is also this SOAP formatter also, if you see, this is nothing but a SOAP environment, and so this is nothing but a, so this is also nothing but storing that information in this some kind of a XML format only. Okay, so this binary serialization stores that information into binary format, and this SOAP as well as this XML serialization store that information in some XML format. Okay, and this binary serialization, it can serialize private as well as public type objects. Okay, so both this SOAP serialization as well as binary serialization can work with private as well as public type, but this XML serialization can only work with these public types. And in binary serialization, it supports the serialization of generic type objects, and I have just shown you that. Okay, so this binary serialization as well as this XML serialization works with generic types, but this SOAP serialization doesn't work with generic type objects. So that is nothing but a differentiation between these three serialization process. That is, some of them work with public and private type, but one of them is not working with that, and some of them work with generic types, but one of them is not working with that. So there is nothing but a differentiation between these XML serialization, SOAP serialization, and a binary serialization, and this is nothing but a serialization in C#, and how we use that to persist the state of an object, and we can retrieve that as and when we required. Okay, according to our requirement. So now let's just quickly see the summary. So first point is to serialize object in C#, its class must define with serializable attribute for binary and SOAP serialization. Okay, I have shown you that. For XML serialization, it doesn't require that class should be defined with serializable attribute, because that anyway works with only public types and that is not a secured information anyway. Okay, so that is why this serializer attribute should be defined on that class for this binary and SOAP serialization only, because that binary and SOAP serialization works with more secure data for more secure object to be serialized. Okay, so now second point, that is XML serialization doesn't require the class to be defined with serializable attribute, and that's what I've just said. Okay, so third point, that is SOAP serialization does not support serialization for generic type objects. Okay, and that's also we have seen, that is both this XML as well as this binary serialization works with generic type object, but this SOAP serialization doesn't work with. But again, if we want to work with generic type objects, and we have used XML serialization, but there is one flaw in XML serialization as well, that it cannot work with private objects, that is a object of private types. So that is why we have to use serialization according to our requirement and the situations. So, and that is nothing but how we can use serialization to have a persistence in C#. Okay, so that's it for today, and we will meet in the next part of this tutorial series. Till then, subscribe this channel if you have not already, and like, comment, share these videos, and we will meet in the next part of this tutorial series. Till then, stay tuned and thank you.